Hey, how you doing, Capricorns? How you doing? This is Queen Lisa. I'm the host for this channel. Welcome to Conscious Realization Deep. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys are looking forward to your week ahead. Please like, comment and subscribe to this channel and press the notification bell so that you can be updated when I've uploaded new readings to this platform. Also, check your sun, moon, rising and Venus signs and any other star sign you have in your birth chart that may resonate with the readings on this channel. Please take what you like and leave the rest. Also, just want to say thank you to you all who have liked, commented and subscribed to this channel so far. Please continue to do so and press the notification bell. So what's going on with Capricorns? Okay, could be holding on tightly to something here. Does say that you would rather not speak about it, but at times you know that you could be holding on to something, maybe even mindfully speaking. Okay. Okay. It does look like there could be some resistance as well, not really wanting to know what's going on all the time, but really not really wanting someone else to know what's going on with you, or even seeing if there's a female that could have your smart mind, or maybe even feeling like the female doesn't really understand who you are. Doesn't say that you want to have war with anyone, but you'd rather not speak about everything that goes on in your mind. Okay. All right. Some of you guys are committed to worries that are, you know, balanced out and tamed. So you feel like you don't have to communicate these things, but you warn yourself not to speak if you have greater things to come. They will work out and it won't be a problem for you to deal with. Okay, so it won't be a problem for you to deal with greater things to come, so to speak. Okay. There could be some type of concerns with the truth as well, or not really wanting to say what you have to say. All right, but it does look like you could be holding on to your commitments. Okay. And I feel like some of you guys could be shadowing someone's work as well, or even seeing if you could support them, maybe even surprising yourself by what you could achieve or could understand or even could learn. Okay, so maybe some of you guys need to support someone at work here, you know, to learn something. You know, maybe you could be in training. It does say that you'd rather speak about when you have great news overall. Certainly wouldn't want to care if you had any time off, because you would rather have good karma in your mind about the work you're doing, and noticing that you do have time to figure out what you're doing to make sure that everything looks good to you and maybe even sounds good to you. Doesn't say you have bad news overall though. Someone could want to show up and surprise you. Could be holding on to something here. Mentally speaking, though, I'm hearing something about miserable person. Okay. Does say that you would rather not say anything, but you've seen what you could do to support yourself and your partnerships, and maybe even letters to avoid a situation, or maybe even seeing that you have time to figure out what's going on in your mind after you receive some mail, or even invitations out, or maybe even drink ups, link ups, you know, that type of thing, or maybe even seeing what's going on with you overall. Okay. Some of you guys don't want to hear that there's any blame there, or any blasphemy, or time to avoid this energy. It's like you want to avoid any type of blame or blasphemy. Does seem like you would rather not speak about bad news or bad members of your tribe or your family or your community. You'd rather not speak about them. Okay. It could also be some type of lack, maybe, or some type of loneliness, just depending on how you view the situation. It does say that you wonder if you have things to do and really study what you have to do not really ignoring anyone, but want to study what you have to do. Okay, so you probably could be studying a lot about what you have to do, and defending that you don't really have the time right now to entertain mind games or even people. At times you just rather stay alone, but you warn yourself that you could come up with things as well to say to make sure that people think you are doing this to them, or individuals that may make you feel like you need to speak up for yourself or talk to them about something. Yeah. It does say someone here doesn't want to dream of communicating at all, and it does say you'd rather speak less to me. I know this because I don't want to speak to you, but that could be you. That could be how you feel. You could be working on getting ready for something here, or trying to ignore someone else's gestures to please yourself, or maybe even working on theirs to see if it's going to work in your favor. Okay. It does say sometimes the female does get on your nerves. It does say when she does, what do you do? Okay, this could be another person asking you that question. It does say sometimes he really intervenes in your life, and he also asks you time after time what you would do if you didn't have good karma with your mind, or maybe even things that you could do to support it in other ways and not speak about things. Okay. Maybe you talk a lot to someone. Okay, and then someone else in the background is agreeing as well. It does say sometimes you really communicate with people all the time about who's who and what's what, and it does say you really go in sometimes about who's doing what. At times it doesn't really make sense to anyone, but you've got to work on why you do that. Some of you guys may not know which way to go to time a situation or to tame it there when it comes to things that you have invested into or looked into financially, wanting to know when the day comes for you to support your mind with this thing that you've communicated about to your mind, or maybe even sorted out in a way that you're trying to do something. Okay, so maybe you're trying to do something. There could be some things here that you're trying to do. Maybe even stabilizing something here, or something to do with stability. All right. You could have a firm hold on something, or a firm grip on something here. You could be pretty creative with your hands right now, or things that you've got to do. Yeah. You could be looking out for some type of clever communication as well. All right. And you could be direct about another day. You wouldn't know what to do. Okay. If something was to go too far. Okay. Okay. There could be, a perspective of a friend or a member of your family, or someone that you know that you wouldn't want to communicate with about things, but they really want to know what's going on with you, or fine-minded person around you, or maybe someone you know. Could be a female person or a family member. It does say, warning though, if you like her, just speak about it. Doesn't say you have to tell me off or make me feel like I've done something wrong. I realize I'm not getting in your way. I just want to know, what does she do? Does she make fun of you, or does she make me feel like I need to look at my mind? I wonder where I'm going with this, because I warn myself not to speak, but I like to know what it is that she does. Okay, it could be a Pisces, or it could be a fire sign here, or maybe even another earth sign like yourself. It does say you work on being ready for yourself to see if you could have good karma with your mind or your family member. And it does say you frenemies are not going to be good to me at times. I wonder when it's going to happen. Okay. So you feel like you could have some type of frenemies, but you're wondering when they're not going to be good to you. Maybe you don't trust them in some type of way, Capricorn. Some type of figures are there. I don't know if this is financial figures or warnings that you would need support It does say someone here may need support. Put off the support. It does say sometimes you want to put the support off, but you know that you could help someone else, or maybe even help a friend out when they need it. Certainly wouldn't want to say hello to someone though at this time, possibly a negative spirit or a friend or someone that you just don't know if you could support speaking to, or maybe even telling them about things that you understand you may need to discuss with them or may not want to discuss with them. It does say you realize you're not really discussing anything, but you wonder when it is going to happen that you need to discuss everything with females or a friend or a negative person. It does say you would rather speak about these things to your mind and a friend. Okay. Some of you guys could have the perspective that you're just ready for work as well. You could be communicating with people all the time, and maybe even seeing that people can change, or maybe even sort out things for you when they're ready or willing to do so. You have a nervous system at times that's not going to bother you, but it does bother you at times when people want to intervene or say hi or talk to you about what's going on with you. Okay. There could be some complaints that you feel like could come out in the near future. It's not going to be you though. It doesn't say it's going to be you that has the concerns more than them. It does say you wonder if you do, but they don't really bother you. Okay, whoever that is. Could be dealing with another earth sign or a water sign or a Cancerian or a Pisces or a Scorpio, or another earth sign here. I'm also seeing contemplating which way to go as well is what you can remember, or what someone remembers here. You know, you could be thinking of which way to go. Some of you guys could just be out and about driving and maybe kind of, you know, locating, you know, locations, something to do with locations. Okay, you've got to drive around and purposely fulfill some type of locations as well. Okay, I don't know if some of you guys are you know, tour drivers, bus drivers, cab drivers. Maybe you do this for work, or couriers, you know, giving out goods, that type of thing, goods and services. Yeah, or train drivers. Does say some of you guys really want to communicate things that you've never done before. And there's some time to, you know, give to which direction you want to go, you know, naturally in your overall life, or just with things that you even remember that you have to do, you know. Okay, someone wants to see when they'll be back. All right. You have shocked many people, or people have shocked you. It does say a member of your staff will ring you or call you about teaming up with them. It does say you would rather speak about that or see when it happens. Okay. Shockingly, there's a group of people here that have some ideas, okay, to help you or support you with. Okay, it does say fairly wanting to commit to someone here, or commit to things that you don't really understand or even see at times whether or not it's going to work, but you realize it could work if you just balance out what you could do in the meantime. Okay. And someone is supporting you to be mad at someone here as well. I don't know if some of you guys have, you know, commitments that are helping you to support being mindful about how you show it, but you see that you could be mad at someone and use certain things to help support you be mad at a person, or maybe even see if they know a lot about what it is that you work on and things that you do overall. Okay. I'm hearing that you've got to team up with some work or some jobs here. I'm hearing as well there may be some credit that's failing as well. It may not be for all of you, but it does sound like you have balanced out things enough to say that you've got good credit. Okay, it does say some of you guys are dealing with greed though, maybe spending too much, or maybe even seeing if you can warn yourself not to speak about it, but you have overspent or maybe even shown it. It does say that you can walk away from that and maybe even support your mind putting it back to normal as well. Okay. And something about some type of secret family affairs. Okay. A secret family affairs. Someone has made a decision that they could kick you down or even conquer you if they wanted to, but they realize it's not going to be you that they need to support with this. If this isn't you that feels that way, it does say there is a hidden fight with what it is that you could achieve or maybe someone else could achieve around you. It doesn't say it's you, but warning signs are there for a person or a problem with you, feeling like it could be them that wants to know too much about your mind or maybe even things that you've got going on. Does say you have struggles with people right now wanting to know everything about you. It does say when you feel like you don't want to know them, you just hide out or maybe keep to yourself. Doesn't say that you want to, but at times you feel like rudeness is there or people just judging you or saying too much to harm your mind. Currently, you wouldn't want to hear that many times over. You've got mind games to play people. At this time, you probably don't want to. It does say, friggin' hell, I know I've got to fight someone. Not really nice about why I have to fight them, but I feel like he is not going to fight me, is he? So you could be thinking about someone that may want to fight you or quarrel with you or have some type of conflicts with you. It does say some of you guys deal with mental stresses all over the place, but you don't really want to know that it's going to happen. So you've mindfully spoke about what it is that you need and you want to support taking your time with things and maybe even see if you could probably give yourself back to good karma and solve your situations instead of working against them. Not really understanding why, but you support everyone's dreams or wishes or even support your own, ideally to help yourself, and may not want to see that you speak about things or war with them. You just want to speak about good things. I'm also hearing something about singing as well. I don't know, some of you guys are singers. Okay. All right. There's some words here that someone has taken their time with. It's gone on for so long or many years, or you know, it happened a long time ago that you may have sung or maybe even saw that you were singing something, or maybe even saw that you were working on some records, like recording records or recording deals, or you know, you may not want to pursue these things anymore, or you may feel like you want to continue, or you still see a way to move forward with them or help someone else do these things. It says you don't really want to, but at times you wonder if it's going to be worth it, or even see if you can support yourself selling tunes or maybe even putting something on iTunes. It does say some of you guys really read into things a lot and see how you could support yourself overall, or maybe even help yourself to see that someone else could have done this already or even used it. It does say when it does happen, it's not going to warn you of bad news. So you probably could be aware of that already. All right. It says, I know I could support you and give you my mind. At times I wonder if you wanted to support this, but I really hate myself. Why I didn't help you to support that. Why I didn't do that. I could have gave you enough time to figure out that you could have been good karma to yourself. Maybe even support me with things that I have got going on. I just don't know why I didn't support you with these things. Maybe I should sell them, or maybe even give them out, or even tell you off and say it didn't work out. I just know that I could have helped you and I don't know why I didn't. Okay. That could be coming from an air sign or a fire sign. Okay. Someone could have been in this person's air if it's not you as an earth sign. Okay. There is a female earth sign here. It does say you do know you could have supported her and helped her to build her life better than that. It doesn't say that he wanted to, though, and he may not have helped you either with things that you had going on, but you tried to warn him that it would never work if he's going to communicate with people on deaf ears or not listen to them, that he should always support people with their minds and not brag about who's who and how things go, and then struggles to see that blessings can come. It doesn't help. It does say you have blamed someone, and it doesn't say it's good, but it does say you do not know how to blame people. It is this what he seems to be blaming you. Okay, I do see this air sign person. This air sign person wants to help you with something that you've got going on, but you don't want to know if he's going to study you all the time. He may not see that you have things going on, but he may help you sometimes, and he may not help you at times, but you have communicated that he should have helped someone else and he never helped you. That's the reason why you may be supporting that he should have told himself to go away and move on from the situation in his mind, to help him see that it's not you that have a problem, but he has a problem to deal with her, and he doesn't know how to support her, ideally another female. It does say bad news for whoever thought about it and thought about whether or not he could sing again, or even purchase mind games to support his mind with other things he's got going on, because he's bought into things and may not have seen that it didn't work out. And it does say you may not see it, but at times he's worded things with himself about things that he has going on and never told you, or maybe never told a female or a friend around you what was happening, and he hates the fact that he never solved the problem with you. It does say some of you guys are dealing with people that don't know what's going on, but some of you guys understand that the words that you've used with people have put you back in your mind about how you could support the nine-mindedness of someone else's, making them feel scared or sorry for who you are. It does say some of you guys are dealing with someone else that's making you feel this way. And it does say she knows why. She's never going to be good enough for you, but at this time you feel like it's going to be good for her. Okay. I do see someone here is getting some type of help with their decisions here. You could be nurturing these decisions, okay? But of course, there could be something that's blocked off where someone's controlling some type of blockages with someone that's in their mind. Okay. It does say this person screams at their mind at times about what could happen, or maybe even tells themselves off at times about what could communicate with them about bad news. It does say sometimes you feel like it's not going to work out with a friend or a person, or you feel like someone's not going to be worth looking into, or even seeing, or even speaking to, or even dating, or even saying hi to, or even sponsoring when it could happen. You just want to know that it could, if it was going to be possible. It does say some of you guys really see someone as a negative person, and this person may not be good enough for you. At times you realize it's not the person that you think is in your mind. It could be someone else that you feel like has made this gesture to see you or speak to you, but doesn't have good news. Okay. Some of you guys are open to a decision here to get some type of help, or maybe even to see someone else, or maybe even to see if there's a date there for you, or maybe even look into a problem that needs to be solved with some information or some communication or some technical issues. Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on with work. Work for Capricorn. Work is not really bad right now. It does say that you have things to do. Okay. You could be taking your time and going the distance, you know. It does say you have feelings that you're not really bothered about things, but you could be stressing about them too. You've got to be direct with yourself, though, about it. It may not bother anyone else, but it bothers you. It does look like someone here wants to be detrimental to your mind or deceptive to it at times. You feel like the Aries or an air sign person doesn't really help you with things. Okay. It does say you realize it's not going to be worth it if they don't see good karma, as they see that it's not really broke, that you're broke, but you have things that you need to sort out, and feel maybe that you're not really studying things as much as you used to, or even looking into how you could support them as much as you used to. Maybe they look at, you know, they're looking at a negative at this time, looking at something as negative or broke. Someone is wishing to be deceptive as well, to be direct, and wants to go away in your mind to think about why they're doing that, because it does bother you that you probably bother someone else using them to harm yourself, because you're not harming the person that you thought you could harm with the person that you thought like could be harmed by another person. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on with work. Anything else with work? Okay, there could be a decision where you've tamed something there, maybe even structuring something or building something and growing something, and it's taking its time. Okay, or believing that it could strive further than you want it to go. Okay, it does say some of you guys are dealing with fortune or even wishes, or maybe even working on why you would want to work on things that are going to make sense to you. All right. I feel like some of you guys are really stressing something as well, maybe working hard to stress something to make sure that, you know, it comes back in a way that you could see that it could work out for you. You could be really working hard at something here, or working hard on your job, or really working hard as, you know, a family member to your team kind of thing, or maybe even being there for fellowship, you know, kind of teamwork makes the dream work, so to speak, you know. Really wanting to go the distance, being direct that you're going the distance and you're taking your time. Okay, no matter how hard it is at times, you know, no matter how stressful it can be at times. All right. All right. Anything else for Capricorn? Let's see what's going on with business for Capricorn. Okay, could be struggling to move forces beyond your mind. At times you could be, you know, negatively looking into things, but figuring out that it's not going to be okay to speak about them. At times you wonder what's going on with your work, or your studies, or maybe even your workflow. Okay, your workflow. It does say you see where things could go wrong. At times you wouldn't want to know that it's always going to go wrong, but you work on things and you make sure that you mend it, or maybe even sell it, or maybe even try to solve it. At times you may want to see that you are probably giving yourself better news and not really laughing or making fun of the situation as you used to. It does say you strive to communicate with people and make sure that things can work out stress-free. Okay. So maybe you've got better communication now with the things that you are trying to work on in regards to your business. All right. And you want to work stress-free. Okay. You could have changed in some type of way. All right. You could be working on ending and solving situations that could possibly make you a better man or female. All right. Okay, anything else with business? Okay. Oh, it does say you can get help with things that you know that you have cried about, or maybe even solved time and time again, but you have great news overall. It's not going to stop you from being good at who you are. It does say you wonderfully helped me with things that I knew that I could become. In my mind, I'm not going to struggle, but I have problems, and I see problems with people all day. I wouldn't want to help them with problems. I've got to give them good news. Okay, so you possibly want to help people with good news and not really want to give them any problems. Maybe like once upon a time, maybe you saw something in yourself and you just, you know, decided to change. Okay, it does say that you need to take your time as well and go the distance and be direct about this, because you may have struggled with some information, maybe even some esoteric information, maybe spiritual downloads that, you know, Spirit was trying to help you with. It does say you figured things out for yourself and you warn yourself not to bother anyone, Spirit, or even their mind about things. You may cause concerns in the mind of yours at times when you're bothered. At times you get the support you need and maybe even the help that you need, and you wonder if it's going to give you good karma this year. Okay. All right, so let's see what's going on with love life. Love life for Capricorns. It does say some of you guys are detailing things or needing to leave something out, or maybe even negative spirits are there, or maybe even people that you won't want to see are there. At times you just don't want to date, or maybe you do, you just don't feel like dating is going to answer your mind at this time with things that you've got going on or needing to achieve. It does say one of these days you realize you want to date but not right now, and you may feel like you want to move on from the fraudulent activity of members in your mind that you have to deal with constantly, daily, people that bother you. It does say sometimes you realize you don't want to be like anyone but yourself, but you do mimic others, or maybe even see that people are not really interested right now in going home to a female or a man, or maybe even understanding that people around you just don't really understand everything that's going on. It does say sometimes you look into members of your family way too hard, but at times you may look into things of your own life and you may see that problems are not there with you. At times you just want to know what another person's doing, or see them, or help them, or even feel like you have a need to sponsor them, or maybe even gift them. At times you just want to support your mind or your person. Okay. Okay, it does say you have contemplated whether or not you should speak about things constantly ongoing, saying hello to someone, or even saying that you will support them. Sometimes you feel like you want some time alone with someone, though, maybe even, you know, just to have some sex, or maybe even work on why you need to speak about things that could come to support you in ways that you just didn't know if it could. You could have clouded your judgment with something here, or wondered when it would happen, someone telling you off, or maybe even passing on details to communicate whether or not someone could be in a problem with themselves over what you had up your sleeve. It does say when you realize you don't need to support anyone else's problems but your own, you just convince yourself to move past it. At times you realize it's not really you that should get involved in someone else's personal affairs or their business, or snuggling into their mind about their own judgment with their personal love life. It does say you warn yourself not to speak, but you have been communicating about someone else's personal hygiene, or even their love life, or maybe even sex. And it does say some of you guys have detailed this in your mind. Okay, it does say you work on some changes here, or really realize it's not going to be you that makes fun of someone, but they need to walk away from whatever it is that you've been warring with. And it does say you've warred with something that you haven't wanted to come out, or maybe even saw that it could come out. Maybe even thought that someone was judging you or telling you off. But it does say you really convince yourself not to speak. And it does say you understand not to say hello or even sponsor someone else's judgment talking to you, but you really torment them in their minds. At times you wouldn't want to speak about what's going on in yours. At times you really wonder where it's going, though. And you do notice that you don't have good friends to deal with at times. But it does say warning signs are there for you to speak about it. Certainly wouldn't want to hear from you again. It does certainly say if you deal with a Sagittarius or mental person, even a Scorpio, it does say some of you guys know that you had to put past a situation or change your mind about it. It doesn't say it's good news. It does say warnings, though. If the Scorpio doesn't mind speaking to you, they will speak to you, but they don't want to hear from you, and they rather speak about why you needed to control your mind with things that they had going on. It does say many times over you've detailed things in their mind about what it is that they wore, what they look like, or where they were going in their mind, or what it is they had going on. At times you didn't really wonder whether or not it was communicating back to you that you had to look at yourself, or even recommend to your mind that you had to change or even look into this. Ideally, Spirit has now conquered you and pushed you down and made you see that Scorpio's energy is persecuting you or helping you to change your mind about things, or even studying things inside yourself to support and maybe even push past the negative mental structures of the Aries or even the Sagittarius or the air sign person. Okay. All right. Let's see, anything else going on in love, in the love life of Capricorns? Okay, let's see what's going on with singles. I'm hearing something about fellowship. It does say journey in your life overall is not going to be easy. I can't communicate these things. I don't want to know that I'm journeying your life overall. It does say someone here thought like, you know, you could have problems with help, maybe even seeing if you were going to get help. It does say some of you guys are dealing with a 13 minded person, or maybe even 13 months or years ago, Spirit. Okay, some of you guys are controlling who you are in your mind with things that you didn't understand or even know. Some of you guys don't even want to hear that bad news is there. Some of you guys are dealing with many friends or female members that have tried to hurt you or harm you, and you don't know how to support your mind overall. You feel like men are going to suffer or maybe even support you, and you don't know when, but you realize that you have a good man coming, or there could be one by your side, or maybe even seeing that one could come later on. At times you just want to know when it's going to happen. It does say you'd rather see what's going on with people whether or not they like it, and it does say bad news if you keep doing that. Okay, it does say sometimes you've got to see that great news can come to them instead of warning yourself that jealousy is something that you always want to know about or even study or even see. At times you may not feel like you have to put yourself through that energy, but it does say warning dealing with a Scorpio or maybe even a Sagittarius or maybe even a Capricorn. It doesn't always help the situation to move past the minds of evil. And it does say at times, because when you're dealing with the minds of a Scorpio, it does move past any negative mental health or even stress reliefs come to you to help you support mind games. At times it can even move past that and be better off than you even realize. But would you give it time to understand who it is? It does say mental stresses are there for you and a female friend. At times you don't want to know she's coming, but she may come and give you guilty conscience or even make you feel like she's not going to support you. She may put you down or even stress you or tell you off, or at times really tell you off because you're not really a good friend to her, but she's not really good to you if you don't really understand both informations on both sides of the spectrum. It does say wonderful things can happen if you could clear the air and understand each other. At times you really need to look into what your friends are saying or how they communicate with you. It does say when you are dealing with someone dining in your mind, you wouldn't want to hear that they're always going to be there, and you'd rather not speak about it, but you would rather not hear that your frenemies are going to be there too. You just don't want to hear that bad news comes to you overall. But when you get good karma, you speak less about it and join forces with the man that you want. And it does say when you get this time off to see that the man comes to you. At times he's not ready yet, but he will be ready in October, November, or even December. At times things have to change, but warning signs are there for you all to see that secret fantasies are not going to build a bridge. At times you have to wonder if the man is going to support your dreams or your wishes. This mind game is being played right now for you all. But it does say when you deal with things, it will change. It does say wonderful things can happen when you feel like the man is going to be yours. If he's yours, then he can communicate what he wants and be there for you in a loving relationship. At times he's not going to stress it, but he sees that he's not going to be the smart mind that you need. At times he may be, but at times you need to see when it's going to happen. If it's this year or karma comes to you in the new year. It does say bloody hell, you need to take your time and see which man is going to be yours. Okay, that's definitely for the females. It does say when you realize this, it's not worth it, because at times the man is not even dreaming of being with you, and he does know that he wants to, but he does know he's timing the situation to adequately support his mental health, i.e. he wants to claim that he doesn't have time enough for you, or maybe even see you at times where he can support what he wants with his words and not really supporting a spouse At times he may give you this though, so he has to communicate when this is going to be. And at times he may not want to give you it today, this month, or this week. At times he feels like he's not going to communicate anything that's going to help you. But sometimes he will, okay? And it does depend on the person that you're dealing with as well. And we have quite a few different star signs. They're earth signs, fire signs, air signs, mostly at this time. All right. Anything else with the singles? It does say some of you guys really want a man and you don't know where to go to get it. Okay, maybe mad at yourself or mad at your mind or mad at people, and not really noticing how to support them, really wanting to know that you can understand good karma can come to you, but really not knowing how to support your mind with things that you've got going on in there. Okay, and you may have lots of things in your mind. Okay, and one of those things could be talking about jealousy or maybe jealous friends, because that came up quite a bit. It does say some of you guys are dealing with a negative spirited person as well and don't know if you should see him again. Some of you guys realize he's not going to be worth seeing again if he's not good to you, and he does want to know that he can be good to you. He's just got to warn himself that he's a better friend than he is a person that you would want to keep as a friend or a frenemy. Or maybe he's a person that you want to see again, but he's good to you at times in the mind, but not always. Or maybe even sees that he's not great to you overall. Sometimes he's got to see himself as a better mental person than a friend, or maybe even see that he's tied up in things that he doesn't want to look into, or maybe even understand. At times he realizes he's got words to give you to sponsor things that he wants to say or even speak about, but he doesn't know how to support you overall with mentally stressed out workloads of love, or maybe even things to support a marriage, or maybe even a female that has disguised herself, doesn't really show me enough attention, is what he would say. He may be interested in you. He may not support everything you've got going on, but he knows that he could time the situation to see if it could work out. Okay, so some of you guys could have, someone, trying to chat you up at this time, or someone that's got their eye on you, someone that's interested. You could be looking at them like, hold on a minute, I don't know if he's going to be the right type of person for me mentally to support a relationship, where he feels like he needs to take his time and see, what's what and how he could possibly do so, or maybe not. Because at the end of the day, it does depend on you as an individual and what he wants in a relationship or from the individual, and if you guys can match each other's vibe. Okay, so let's see what's going on with those in a relationship. Okay, it does say time will tell. You've got things to do at this time. You really don't want to bother your spouse or your person. You really see that you don't have time to seek attention from them, or maybe even see if anyone else is going to help you with things that you've got to do outside of your love life. At times you feel bored or restless, or even feeling like word for word you don't want to hear it. At times you just don't want to hear what people have to say or think. It does say sometimes you realize you could be ignored or ignoring someone, or maybe even selling your soul to something out there that doesn't even understand who you are. Some of you guys are dealing with stress related issues in your mind, wondering about things, dreaming about things, and daydreaming at times is what you do. Sometimes you wonder where it's going with your spouse or your lover, or even see if the problem can be solved. Sometimes you want to see that you are certainly going to work on yourself and wonder if things are going to get better. You love yourself, so you don't want to harm yourself, and you realize that things could work out just fine. It doesn't say bad news is there, but you have to support your prayers, or maybe even your personal problems, or maybe even things you think about, or maybe even things that you just don't want to know. Sometimes you look into things and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you rather see that it's not going to be worth it, sometimes you do, and at times you just don't know where to go, but you do feel overall that karma's coming to you, but you just don't know what it is. At times you realize that you just want to know that things are going to work out just fine. You'll be okay though, and it does say blaming someone else is not going to be the answer, but warning, if you have good karma with your friends or your family members, this year is going to be a blessed year and it's not going to be bad news. Okay, that's beautiful. So what's going on with those in a marriage? Okay, bit of a pull and tug. Maybe you want your significant other to, you know, befriend your friends, or maybe go out with you, or maybe spend time around you and family members. At times you see that they don't have time, or they see they do, but at times they may be late, or maybe offering you time off to communicate things with you in ways that you could come out with them, or maybe even not go out at all. At times you see that you want to support people's helpfulness. At times you want to give gifts to others, or maybe even say that you need support with this, or maybe even see that you have to go out to family dinners, family functions, or maybe even support friendships, or maybe even work dues, or maybe even address situations in your mind that you have with other people outside of your marriage, or even see if it's going to be time that you have time to see other things going on with your life overall. At times you just don't want to deal with other people that have many things that they could give you or gift you or even help you with. At times they do know that they could support you with mental stresses of your own that you don't want to show them right now. And at times you may not want to see that you've got mental stresses, or even see that you've got problems that you've got to give to them. But sometimes you just want to work on who you are and support yourself, or your well-being, or even your money, and see that things can work out just fine. Working on yourself is going to be a blessed time. Good karma is coming, and it does say blessings are on its way to you. So strive for fortune, or even give yourself gifts, okay? So it does say helping yourself through people, okay? Many options are there, but you may not want these options at this time. You could be contemplating what you need, or how you could achieve something, or who you could talk to even talk about things, or maybe even solve things in your mind, or in a way that you could convince yourself that blessings could come without the problematic situations occurring, okay? So let's see what's going on with individuals, what's going on with Aries and Capricorn, okay? Okay, commitments are here, dealings are there with people, time in a situation as well, maybe even supporting an idea, or maybe even seeing that you've been conquered by their love, or maybe a member of their family has been, seeing that you don't really like them, but they could support you with things that you've got going on, or maybe even put off. It does say working on them is not going to be good, but at times you wonder if you can surprise yourself and maybe even move past the stress with them. You don't really need to hear that they're going to be dealing with you all the time, but you don't want to hear that problems could come up with you all the time. It does say negative members of your family may not even want to hear from them. At times you realize it's not going to be worth dealing with you in your ways, or even other people's ways. At times you've got to allow the situation to unfold, or see if people want to deal with the situation in their way, okay? So let's see what's going on with Taurus and Capricorn. Okay. Wish fulfillment may have been studied here, okay? It does say certain things that you've been praying for, or maybe even reaping what you sow. It does say some of you guys are dealing with the strength or the magnitude of someone that doesn't want to hear from you at times, but does realize that you need them, but you don't need support from them all the time. Maybe put off by things that you have said or done, or maybe even see that you're nagging, or even negative, or maybe even see that you're always on the go to help yourself, or maybe even see that you probably need support all the time. And it does say when time is there for you to support them, they will be there, but at this time they realize they've got other things to do with their family members, their friends, or people around them. They wouldn't want to be hearing from you this month, this week, or maybe even this year. At times they just know that they want to leave you alone, and maybe even see that they can support themselves. At times they will be there for you, but sometimes they feel like nagging energy is too much for them to deal with, or maybe even certainty is not going to be always there for you to always be by their side. Sometimes the Taurus energy doesn't want to hear from you, or even speak to you, or be bothered. They rather not see you or even hear from you at all. Okay, let's see what's going on with Gemini and Capricorn. Gemini and Capricorn. Okay. All right. It does say you have less lessons to learn, or maybe even things to sort out. It does say things that don't really bother you like they used to. Communication is something that you need to support, though. Possibly wouldn't want to hear that they're always going to lie to you or tell you off. It does say Gemini always wants to communicate with you or solve things, or maybe even see things from your point of view. It does say sometimes you may mimic their energy, or maybe even see that they war with you, or even woe with whatever things that you've got going on. It says time after time, if you've seen them in friendship circles, then you don't really want to hear that they've got things to support with your mind. At times you feel like they're in their own mind about who they are. It does say sometimes you realize it's not always going to be something that you want to deal with, or even see that you can support your mind with other things that you can support with other people's minds. Sometimes you just don't know how to support Gemini, but Gemini will push you or even support you to understand who you are, and maybe even feel like they can warn you not to speak to them at times too. Sometimes they just don't know how to support you, but people do want to communicate with you right this minute or now. And it does say many of them realize that Gemini is not going to support you with everything. It does say sometimes Gemini really pushes the button or makes you feel nervous or even sad, and really tries to get a hold of whoever they can to bring in to your mind people that can harm you. At times it doesn't say good karma with them, but sometimes they do feel mischievous or negative, or mental structures could harm you. And maybe even people around them could come and harm you too. At times they're warning themselves not to speak, because when they're going through this, they don't like it. But at times they realize they can deal with it in their own way. It does say mental stress is something that they deal with, but at times they rather not sell their soul to mental stresses of yours, or mental stresses of negative members of their tribe, or even their family, or maybe even people that weather the storm inside them. They laugh at other people, though. It does say laugh at other people because they don't deal with people on the inside, but they deal with people on the outside. People that don't really care for them are people on the outside. So, i.e., people that are not their family members, people that are not really close, tight-knit friends in their circle, or, i.e. their relatives, or even their, their lovers. Because, it does say that they seem to have more issues with people outside of their tight-knit circle than people that are close to their heart, so to speak. I don't know if that's relating to you in some type of way, Capricorn. It may not be for some of you guys that are dealing with, them in a close way, but it does say whoa. They don't want to hear from you at this time, and they may not feel like they want to negotiate with you on things that they want to achieve, but they don't want to hear that they always have problems with you either. They will sort it out when they can, or even strive for your communication, or even time the situation to see when it's going to be necessary for them to deal with you. Okay. All right. So let's see what's going on with Cancerian and Capricorn. What's going on with them? It does say Capricorn doesn't want to even speak about it with Cancerian, or even see that a frenemy around them doesn't really look nice to them. It does say some of you guys are dealing with a frenemy around Cancerian, but Cancerian doesn't realize it, or maybe even see it, but they do warn themselves they could, and maybe even support who's there. It does say when they see who's who, they can work on who's who, and they don't know who to support with you. At times they rather see themselves and not speak about it, but they war with themselves and think about who they are, and they like it too. So they need to be left alone to deal with whatever it is that they've got going on, and support their minds with things that they've put off, or even seen, or even sorted out in their mental health. It does say certainly they wouldn't want to bother you, but at times they're warning themselves if you see them as a frenemy, then they wouldn't want to speak about it, but they see that they love themselves way too much and wouldn't want to say that you've got them in the way that they've got you, because they do know that they've got you, but they time the situation to see if they have, and when they want to, and when they feel like it, and if they need to. At times they see that it's not going to be you that supports them, but they are put off by you or your mind, or even things that you seem to have in your mind about who you are, or maybe even things that you have about yourself about who you are. They like to torment or tease people, and they do talk about them regularly, or even communicate with themselves about them regularly, or even support a friend's mind with them regularly to time the situation, or tell them off, or tell you off, or tell whoever off. They like to tell off people a lot, And they will communicate things like they want people to be in their mind about negative stuff too. It does say they do this a lot, and they realize they can't communicate any mind games with you about this, but they're warning themselves if you're speaking about them or their mind today, they will banish you in your mind with negative mental health, or talk to you like you're a death wish, or personally want to harm you. They realize this and they just don't want to hear it. At times they don't want to hear it because they realize they're bad news. Oh, okay, let's see what's going on with Leo. What's going on with Leo and oh dear, excuse me. What's going on with Leo and Capricorn? All right. Leo can't sponsor anything good with you today. It does say at this time they rather not see you at all. They would wonder when you would be around, but they don't want to see you right now. Okay. They may want to speak to you though, maybe over the phone, or maybe even convince you that you've got to speak to them first, because at this time they're fine with what they have in their mind, or even trying to figure out things for themselves, or even seeing if they can support you with other things that they've put off, or maybe even done, or maybe even saying that they don't need to see you, but they will call you or ring you, or maybe even time the situation to see if it's true. They just don't want to see you right now. Okay. So let's see what's going on with Virgos and Capricorns. It says Capricorn would never want to deal with you at times. And it does say you would rather not deal with Virgo's energy. It does say sometimes you will leave them to deal with whatever's going on in their mind, or really feel like you've singled them out, or maybe even hurt them, or maybe told them off, or maybe told them that they're not good enough, or maybe even said they don't have enough time to spend with you. You feel like they don't need to communicate with you, and you don't need to communicate with them. And warning signs are there for you to communicate your mind. At times you would rather not speak about them, but you see that they're not really good enough for you. Okay. All right. It does say friggin' hell when time is right, because even them, they don't want to see you at this time, and they just know that they don't need to speak about you. They really took their time to say hello, or maybe even stayed away from you. They realize that they don't want to stay away. At times they do, but they realize they're not always going to be what you want, and realize that they don't need you. And they understand this, and they really give themselves time to think, will I need you someday? And they understand that too. And they just possibly word for word things in their mind enough to support who they are. But they do care. They just don't understand why they need you at this time, or maybe even wonder if you're going to be a friend to them on a long term. They just want to know that this is going to be the case always. At times they realize it could happen, but sometimes they don't. And they don't know how to support when they're coming back to speak to you or sponsor you with your mind. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on with, oh, wait a minute, a card dropped out. They've been struggling though, and it does say you both have been struggling with things that you want, but it's not going to be worth it. You've just got to move past the mind games. Okay, so let's see what's going on with Libras. What's going on with Libras and Capricorns? Libras and Capricorns. Okay, it does say letters are coming to you one day to support your mental health. There's a group of people that want to speak to you about this. It says letters coming out to communicate with a negative person in your mind. At times you may not see what's going on, but someone here saw you as a negative person. It doesn't say your person is going to be a person that you fought. It does say sometimes you feel like you've got bad things going on for yourself, or maybe even see that people don't communicate with you enough, but you've tried to warn yourself not to speak, or to stay away from someone, or you needed to speak to them more about what was going on, but you didn't want to. It says sometimes you need to figure out why you have solved your head in such a way that you don't want to hear from someone. At times they don't want to hear from you too, but they wonder what's going on with you though. Okay, there could be a group of people that have some type of regrets here. Okay, let's see what's going on. Anything else with Libra and Capricorn? They want to know that they struggle at times with what you've got going on. They don't know if it's going to be this way, but they know sometimes it happens, and they realize they don't want to communicate with you as often as you think, but they needed to speak about something that they had going on in their mind, or even to support it. At times you may not want to speak, but you feel like it's not going to be good for you to speak. At times it will be, and if you don't want to speak, then we'll communicate when you will speak. At times you don't want to hear us, but you've got to communicate when you've got to. Okay. And it does say sometimes if it's got to do with anything other than letters sent out for you to see that it's going to be blessings, you don't want to hear it, but at times you need to. It does say when you realize it's going to have good karma, you wouldn't want to hear bad news. So you have to support something that you may have played off, or maybe even put down or put aside. You may have given up on something here, or maybe even sold a person for who they're not, or maybe even told them that they're not good enough. It does say when you realize Libra's not good enough for you, you want to walk all over them. But it does say warning, if Libra doesn't want to spend time with you, they will see that they're not going to speak to you because of mental stresses that you've had inside yourself. It does say sometimes you realize you don't have to leave the person in their mind to see that it's going to be bad news. It does say sometimes you realize that you don't want to hear from them, but you'd rather see that they're not going to have bad news. It does say sometimes you'd realize that you do have good news to tell them, or maybe not. And it does say sometimes you'd rather not speak about it, but you left the person a long time ago, or maybe even told them that it's not going to be worth looking into anymore. You try to warn them that you just don't want to hear from them, and you're leaving them to it. Let them stress or move on. You just don't want to hear from them. Okay? Okay, let's see what's going on with Scorpio. What's going on with Scorpio and Capricorn? Scorpio doesn't mind speaking to your mind about things when they feel like it. At this time they don't want to, but you may feel like they want to. At times you don't even know what's going on with them, but you word for word what happens in your mind when it happens to you, the things that you think is going to happen. At times they don't even want to stress it or see you, but at times they wonder why you're bothered about them, or why you really want to be seen or heard. At times you really want to notice who you are. It doesn't say that you want to notice who you are, but it does say that they would rather you see who you are than sponsor who they are. It doesn't say that they want to believe that you have problems constantly. They just want to see that you're okay, or maybe even feel like you're fine, or you're up to no good in your own way, but not really bothering your smart-mindedness to say that you're pretty much in a vexed mind the way you are now, or maybe even seeing if you're bothered. At times they really want to see that you're not even supporting them because they've got things that they currently want to do, or maybe even certainly sort out for their mind and things that they've got going on. They really don't want to be bothered. At times you really feel like they need to be, or want to be, or even try to harm them to see if they're going to. It does say you wonder why you have to be involved in their mind so often or frequently. At times they just don't want to see your spirit come to them with negative vibes, and they realize this when they look forward to blessings coming their way other than you. Okay, let's see what's going on with Sagittarius and Capricorn. Sagittarius doesn't want to see you or even speak to you. At times they do not want to say hello. They really feel like you've got bad news to give them, or bad negative vibes or mind games to play with yourself about them. They want to hear that you speak about these things, but they don't always want to hear you too. They rather rob you from your everlasting nine-mindedness, i.e. if you're scared or even certain that someone could play along with you and speak about you. It does say when you realize it's not always going to be in a good way. It does say sometimes you want to say hi to someone, or even see if they come back to you. At times you rather not speak about them at all. At times you just want to know what's going on with you and them, and you realize it's not always going to be certain, but you've got to speak about when you need to support things going on with you. At this time it may not be good for you to speak to someone, but it does say bad news if you keep communicating that you're struggling to say hi. And it does say sometimes you want to say hi to them, but you just don't know when. And realize it's not going to be all the time that you need to speak to them, but sometimes you want to relay things that you've got going on, or maybe even talk about things that you've got to do, or maybe even see that you've got things to judge or even smile about, or maybe even certainly give yourself time to explore. Many times over, when you're dealing with Sag, it's not going to be worth it unless they're ready for you. At times, if they're not ready for you, they will detail what it is they have to do and push you past your mind and make you feel like you've got things going on in your own mind. Okay, let's see what's going on with Capricorn and Capricorn. Capricorn doesn't want to hear that their mind is telling them off about a female. It does say a female because you won't want to hear that your mind's telling you off about a female, whatever female that is in your life. Okay, it does say some of you guys are dealing with a lover, a friend, or even a married person, or maybe even a negative minded person that you feel like you don't want to discuss right now, or maybe even a family member. At times you just don't want to talk about the feminine energy or the females. Okay, it does say some of you are dealing with feline energy, or maybe even fertilized energy, or maybe even forces beyond your mind, or even things you just don't want to hear about. You realize that you don't want to hear about females to the point where you push them off the face of the earth, or maybe even don't want to control their energy, but do see that you push them at times to the point of nowhere to go. At times you don't want to hear that females are there, or even hearing that they're good enough for you, or even supported. At times you realize that females are not going to be good for you, but warning, are you really ready to harm yourself with this energy? Are you trying to say that females are not going to be certainly good for you, or maybe even supported by your mind or even family? It does say some of these females do good to you, and at times you really don't know how to support them. But whether or not you see it, you have to have a good timing to play your mind with someone, because the female's going to need you someday, or you feel like the female's not. At times you feel like your manhood is going to be better off for you and the female, and not really give the female a chance to see what's good enough for her and her feminine values. It does say she realizes this because she wants to know that her feminine energy and fertilized energy and venom energy is going to be good enough for you. If you don't realize that she's beautiful, or maybe even helpful, or even structure your mind to see that she is wonderful, or maybe even certainly gifted, or even certainly wonderfully helped, you realize that she's not going to support you. At times she realizes that she wants to help you and support you, but you may not listen or even communicate the way she does. It does say bad news if you're dealing with sex, or maybe even mental health structures that avoid the female energy, because the female energy is supported as a mother of the earth and really needs to be supported as good help and even good wealth and maybe even good fine mindedness. Okay, it does say when you deal with seasons that come into you to play the part about the female is going to struggle at times to give you good karma, but at times she will not if you listen to her or even support her, or maybe even help her past situations. You may not see it or understand it, but your feminine energies are supported in a bad way. Are you realizing that you're going to support them in a better way, or is it time for you to look into why we need to curse you? Oh, all right, let's see what's going on with oh, okay. It does say you would rather not see the females die out, or maybe even harmed or hurt. You just want to see the females do great, but at times you wonder how you can support this idea. You want to see that blessings come to you, but when will you give yourself time to wonder if you're dying of jealousy, or maybe keeping them laid low, or maybe even supporting them to be down and low, or maybe even under your thumb, or maybe even seeing that you have feminine qualities inside your mind, or even in your faith, or even in your mental structures, or even in your body centered around you, or maybe even things that you've noticed, giving yourself time to realize if feminine energy is going to be quality energy for the universe. It does say you figured out what it is that you want already, but you don't know how to support everything that the feminine's got going on. It does say feminine energy, because when you realize feminine energy is also fertilized energy of good karma to support many of you being in your mad mind about feminines and not really helping them, it says you need to support me as a man. Okay, that's where the men come in versus the women. And it does say when you realize you're alone, you're not going to be happy, but at times you realize feminine energy is just ducking and diving or leaving you behind. It doesn't say it's good for you, but you warn yourself what to do when the females in your life disappear or don't want to deal with you anymore. Okay, so let's see what's going on with Aquarius. What's going on with Aquarius and Capricorn? Aquarius doesn't want to deal with you. At times they hear you and not see you. At times they warn you not to speak to them, or even sponsor what's going on in your mind about things that you've heard, seen, or even smelt. At times you wonder what you're seeing, or even laughing at, or even joking about. You realize that you don't want to hear everything, and you wonder where it's going. At times you just don't even want to see the problem. At times you wonder where it's going with your family. Okay. It does say sometimes you realize that it's not going to be worth looking into all the time with your spirit or your mind. At times you would rather not see it. You will feel like you're not going to deal with it, or maybe even dump the energy on another mind. It does say you warn yourself though. If you want to speak about it, then you're going to hear that good karma comes. Certainly wouldn't want to hear that you're always going to get what you want, in my mind. It does say Aquarius doesn't want to see you get everything, but it does say you warn yourself if you do get everything, you can time the situation, or maybe even see that you probably solved the problem. You don't know if it's going to be solved though, and you wonder if it's going to be solved at times when you're working too hard, or maybe even working really mindfully speaking, or maybe even warring with something that you shouldn't be warring with just to get it. It does say sometimes you realize it's not even worth it, and you need to move past it and look for better means in your life. It said that judgment, jealousy, and problematic situations that cause you harm or people. Okay, let's see what's going on with Pisces. All right. At times Pisces doesn't want to deal with you, but Pisces realize they do. It's just that they don't want to hear from you right now, but they wonderfully want some time alone, is what you may feel. It does say they want some time alone in the respectful way, or maybe even ways that you want to see them respect themselves, or maybe even hear that you could respect each other. At times you don't make a lot of time for each other, or you mayhem with each other. Mayhem. It does say mayhem because you mindfully speak about each other or talk about each other to the point you curse each other or harm each other. At times you don't want to see it, but you do it, and you may not feel it, but it's there. Oh dear. Okay, anything else? It does say some of you guys got to detail when the timing is right for you to communicate that good karma is coming. One of these days you'll see blessings come to you or not. At times you'll see curses come and go. And at times you'll see things that don't happen at all. It says when you realize that you shouldn't have karmically given yourself time alone to think about bad news, then you should sponsor that. Ideally, it doesn't work out every time, but it doesn't work out for you to see that blessings can come to you in a bad way or in a good way. At times you have to wonder what you're doing to harm someone or put them down, or maybe even see them in a bad way, or maybe even say hi to someone and put them past the energies. It does say Pisces doesn't even smartly give you that, or maybe even help you with that. They just know they don't want to hear you war with them constantly, or even harm them or their fellowships, or even families, or even people. They just don't want to hear it. Okay, they just don't want to hear it, my lovely. So let's see what's going on with romance angels. Okay, it says release your ex. The time has come to clear the energy. So some of you guys may need to release a physical ex-lover. For some of you guys that are not dealing with ex-lovers, okay, it could be a spiritual energy of an ex-person. Okay, that doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic love situation. It could be an ex-friend. It could be an ex-family member. It could be even an ex-job or ex person that you had to deal with for whatever reason in your personal life, in your community, in you know, your commitments, whatever it is. Okay, all right, let's see what's going on with your other angel messages. Okay, it says overcoming difficulties. Archangel Jeremiel, the worst is now behind you and you are surmounting any previous challenges. Okay, so you're trying to overcome any previous challenges that you may have been going through or had to face. Okay, it does say new partner for some of you guys that may have to deal with a new partner or get involved with a new partnership, or there could be new partners coming in right now, whether that's romantic partners or maybe even people that have to partner up with you for whatever reason it is. Okay, it does say a chance meeting is no mistake. It is divinely orchestrated as a catalyst to set the wars in motion for the fruition of your prayers. Pay careful attention to new people we send into your life. You will recognize them by the sense of familiarity, comfort, and safety. Okay, so let's see what's going on with universal messages. Okay, this one's in reverse, but let's see why. It says, when I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. Okay, so some of you guys may need to focus, on the world through the lens of love. Right now, it could be a little bit topsy-turvy. Maybe you're going left, maybe you're going right, but some of you still trying to overcome things, or, transforming in some way, changing in some way to help you see better luck, better news, or even just a new path, or a change in direction. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on with numbers. Angel numbers: 6, 46, 8, 1, 24, 43, 13, and number 40. And that was your reading, my lovely. So I will speak to you again in your next one. Ciao for now. Bye.